Life for the modern day executive has changed. For example, your assistant follows you everywhere you go. Alexa, what's on my calendar for today?
Today, there are 2 events remaining. There's drive the Lexus ES 300h and there's flight to Pune.
Formals are out, casuals in. And deals aren't made in the boardroom, but rather in the palm of your hand. The word executive, it isn't just a tag anymore, it's a lifestyle. The world is getting smarter and technology exists to make your life more easier and more efficient. And I think I found the car to perfectly complement this, the Lexus ES 300h.
The design is business casual with a hint of high-end fashion. The front LS-inspired spindle grille is sophisticated and is complemented by those razor-sharp triple LED headlamps. The new ES has a wider, stronger stance that is accentuated by the strong shoulder line and a coupe-like sloping roofline. The 18-inch wheels will have those heads turning even on the road. Business or play, the ES has you covered with a 424-liter boot. There's enough space for golf clubs and the weekend luggage.
Omotanashi, that's the word to truly understand what this car is all about. Now, I can ramble on and on about the features, but what you need to remember is that every little detail on this car is designed keeping you in mind.
For example, when you get in, the seats pull back to accommodate you. The wireless charging cradle is nicely tucked in under the central storage unit, and there is a second compartment to keep your keys.
So Lexus did some research and they found out that the #1 cause of driver fatigue is actually excessive eye movement. So the entire cabin has been designed with that philosophy of minimizing fatigue. So it's essentially segregated into 2 parts. You have the viewing zone and the experience zone, which means things like the instrument cluster, the infotainment unit, even the drive select stock are all in your eye line. So that means majority of the functions you can keep your eyes on the road and minimize fatigue. Now the cabin of this ES 300h is better equipped than most offices. For example, there is this printed layer on top of the leather that prevents it from feeling sticky. Then there is the air conditioning system. It's got 3-zone climate control, but if you simply select Climate Concierge, it will understand the ambient temperature, understand where the passengers are sitting, and optimally deliver the right kind of cooling for you. The air conditioning system also comes with a purification system and discharges negative ions to keep your skin moisturized as you drive along. So when you're done driving, you actually feel refreshed. If you look out the windows, you'll notice that there's no glare coming in, and that's because the glass itself is polarized. That also keeps out harmful rays of the sun. If you're the type who likes to be chauffeured around, then the rear as well has received quite a bit of attention. There is a motorized recline function, it's got heated seats, a bunch of controls, and even a chauffeur package, so you can effectively just move in the front passenger seat and free up more legroom. The ES is also the perfect place to deliver a hard-hitting presentation to your clients because you can wirelessly cast your phone onto the infotainment screen, and with that 1850 watt Mark 11 synth sound system, you know they're in for a truly theatrical experience. As one would expect, the refinement levels on this Lexus is something else. Effectively examined the entire driving experience through a microscope, and all these changes have added up. Firstly, they have insulated the cabin completely. There's a lot of sound deadening material. In fact, the underfloor of the car is loaded with 93% of sound deadening material. Even the A, B and C pillars are filled with a polyurethane foam. And to top it all off, they've added active noise cancellation as well, because why not? Then they looked at the tires, and what they found out was the tire noise comes from the rapid expansion and contraction of the tire. So these rims are specifically designed to counteract that, to minimize tire noise. Now don't worry too much about your petrol bill because this is a hybrid. Now Lexus tell us that it can return a claimed 22.3 kilometers per liter. The hybrid system has been improved a bit. The battery pack has now moved from the boot to under the rear seat. Not only does this lower the overall center of gravity of the car, but it also frees up more space on the inside. As before, the final drive comes from an electric motor, which means that the petrol engine is really there as a generator. But what this also means is that you can run in pure EV mode of speeds up to 80 kilometers an hour. Despite the new platform being lighter, the car actually weighs 35 kilos more than the outgoing model, but not at the cost of performance. Now, on paper, this drivetrain produces a combined output of 215 horsepower and 190 Newton meters of torque, which doesn't sound like much, but flip it into sports mode and the LFA-inspired cluster comes to life. And this car is pretty fast. It can do 0 to 100 in about 8 seconds. And we got to experience a few corners here and there. The rigidity of the chassis really comes through, and you can tell that, you know, this car has greatly improved on its handling and driving dynamics. It really does handle well for what it is. Now, while the ES300H is an impressive car, it's not perfect. The suspension is tuned to be a little bit stiffer, which means that it is fairly harsh for Indian roads and does get caught out pretty easily. Then there is some of the plastics that are a little bit questionable, especially around the area of the door bins. There's no soft touch material there and it does feel a little bit shoddy. The sloping roofline does look very attractive, but that also means that headroom in the rear has been compromised a little bit, and if you're a little bit tall, it's going to be a bit of a squeeze. If you're an Android user, there is no Android Auto with the infotainment system. And speaking about the infotainment system, while it is overall fairly impressive, the inputs with the system isn't the most intuitive to use. Now, the Omotenashi philosophy even focuses on the car ownership experience. For example, your 10,000 kilometer service is going to cost you a maximum of 15,000 rupees. If you want to replace all the brake pads on all the 4 wheels, it's going to cost you 7,000 rupees. And what is it going to cost you to be part of this elite club? At an asking price of 60 lakh rupees, what do you guys think? Is it worth it? Well, why don't you let us know in the comment section below. My name is Glen, you're watching PowerDrift, and until next time, bye-bye.